And we are back with the third and second to last match that we have here for the EU group stages. Good news for people who are sick of all the PvPs. We will not have any, from this match onwards, we will not have any more PvPs to cover. However, the downside of that is that, unfortunately, the rest of the matches that we have here, at least on the EU group stage, aren't really as climactic and don't really have much of an impact on the overall standings in the groups.
Yeah, like the series and games themselves may like bring it to us, and they may be amazing. But as you said, unfortunately, both of our players here today, for our third series, neither one of them can make it out of the group. They are both confirmed eliminated from DreamHack.
And this also means that no matter what the result here happens, it also doesn't impact any of the other players.
Exactly. What this does impact is, I believe, the overall standings, which means, they are still playing for money. So, of course, they still have something on the line. They're still going to be playing their hearts out. They still are going to be putting on a good show for the fans in the chat.
And that's what we're all here to see, as in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres, we, of course, have the red Protoss player coming down from the land of France. He is, of course, going to be representing Root Gaming. He is DnS.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres LE, we have the blue Zerg player himself, hailing from the land of Austria, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is HateMe. Or HateMe.
HateMe.
HateMe. We didn't get confirmation if it's meant to be pronounced another way. It's
Hateem.
It's probably HateMe. It's still an odd.
Why would it be HateMe though?
It's an odd ID. It's an odd ID.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Hence why, until we do get that confirmation, or until I'm told to stop, I will be referring to him as Hateme.
Yeah, we'll see how things go here. We are finally free. I can't believe you didn't mention it, but we are finally free from our PvPs, Yaku.
Yeah, I double-checked and looked at the schedule that we have for the rest of the evening. No more PvPs. Still going to be one Protoss player later in DreamHack NA that we will be covering, but yeah, there will be not only no more PvPs, also no more mirror matchups from here on out.
Exactly. What I will say, though, is that even though, PvPs or mirror matchups aren't the most ideal series to cast, the two that we did cast were insane. Like, I wouldn't... I wouldn't have it... Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. Both of them were explosive. Both of them had their own things going for them with what to watch out for. So again, I highly recommend checking out the VODs. They were a lot of fun. And hopefully the fun keeps on going. Hopefully this PvZ can deliver.
Yeah. That's what we're about to find out.
Exactly, as we are getting into things. So far, nothing too crazy. DnS was able to block the natural expansion, so HateMe had to go for the unnatural natural, and DnS did choose his tech building of choice.
It will, in fact, be a Stargate to kick things off. And of course, whenever I see a Stargate in a PvZ, my question is always, how many oracles?
How many oracles? I mean, throughout this DreamHack season, we've even had, what was it? What did we go up to? Like 6 oracles last time?
Yeah, 6. We were really, man, a lot of people were holding out for 7 oracles. I believe that was, I want to say Art who did that, but I could be mistaken.
I believe so. Again, we've casted so many series that a lot of them blend together. But we did have essentially...
Diane? I don't know.
Essentially Mass Oracle, and it did end up working. Did end up working for our Protoss player, but we'll see how many Oracles DnS goes for, as the first is on the way.
Yeah, my eyes are glued to that production tab. A couple of adepts make their way across the map to get a little bit of a scout, get a little bit of an understanding of what the mineral saturation is looking like. I don't believe DnS has confirmed that third base, but he should have an inkling. He did block the natural.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the Lings were not here in the main base, and the Adept wasn't scattered as it came in, so HateMe didn't really have much in position, sorry, as one drone did go down. Meanwhile, oh my god, the Oracles even come in, and hey, the Adept survived.
Yeah, I thought for sure at least one of them would go down, but 'twas not to be the case. Oracle being very ballsy, they dip in, take a bunch of damage, but in the end, will be able to take out a couple of drones and make it out with its life.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the Adepts continue to threaten the mineral lines here, forcing zero mining at the natural base. And again, that Oracle at any moment can dive in again once it regens that HP. Meanwhile, finally the Lings, they get on top of the Adepts, and finally they are going to be cleaned up.
There's actually a lot of Lings going down this early on. This isn't the biggest of deals, but if DnS continues to put on the pressure with these Oracles, it will end up having a bit of a snowball effect. Second Oracle comes to meet the initial one, and it can start one-shotting drones. We have a third Oracle in production, by the way. I'm hoping we see a fourth at least.
3 is kind of the standard. The third is rallied here to the third base to keep it alive. Lings try and force the denial, but the Adepts are already in position at the same time. Oracles dip in. Oh, there was a Spore already here at the natural. Oracles this time don't deal any damage.
Yeah, HateMe or HateMe not going to be losing any more drones.
Exactly. He did already lose quite a number, though, and because of that, DnS has a pretty nice probe lead at the moment, but HateMe is trying to catch up as best he can, trying to saturate his third base, and that third Oracle is here at the third.
Yeah, there are already a couple of Queens in position, however. This is something very interesting about HateMe's style. So he does get a lot of Queens, but he also uses them very, very defensively. Does mean that he hasn't really been able to spread creep as much as I'm sure he'd like to, but it does keep his mineral lines very, very safe. And it does also mean that he doesn't really have to invest in too many static defenses.
Yeah, I don't blame him, with triple Oracles, and he's already lost a couple of drones, he cannot afford to lose too many more. Meanwhile, the Lings are going for a bit of a run by across the map. They do catch 2 of these Adepts, but they do not find their way into the natural base.
Oh, potentially the third base, though. There are a lot of Stalkers here, but they're starting to get surrounded. DnS retreats to a much more comfortable fighting position, and with the Oracle here, these Zerglings should not get any more headway. Yeah. Which is a bit of a shame, because, there wasn't a shield battery in position there.
Exactly. Without a shield battery, I thought a little bit more damage would be done, but there was some really nice control there and army movement with these Stalkers. DnS only lost a single Stalker, as well as those 2 Adepts that were caught in the middle of the map. Yep. Only one.
Only one. Very nicely done here for DnS. Of course, he's going to be maintaining that worker lead for quite some time. The Oracles even dip back in and get a couple more drones. More than I thought they would at this stage.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. That drone count is slowly getting higher. Meanwhile, he threatens that mineral line once again, but thinks better of it. Finally, the creep is being respread, though. The Queens have been moved out of the bases and onto the front lines. But that does mean the bases are a little bit more exposed. A little bit.
Just a smidge. I mean, he does have confirmation of where those Oracles are. It's going to be very difficult for him to maneuver them to that third base location, but meanwhile, the Stalkers are here. Oh man, I love how active DnS is being with them. He denies that fourth base, and he's even applying some pressure on these Queens. There are only Lings at the moment, but there are about to be Roaches.
Yeah, meanwhile, one Roach already gets caught out. He doesn't want to go too deep in the creep because he will get surrounded by every single one of these things, but with Blink, he's able to get the hell on out of there, and again, the creep hasn't been spread too much, so there is kind of this safe zone, this safe area that he can fall back to.
And of course, with every single Oracle alive, they can pop their Revelations, and a lot of creep will be receded in this position. Look at the micro coming out right now from DnS. How many Stalkers are you losing at? None.
0.
Absolutely none.
Mate, this entire game, he's lost 1 Stalker from that run by earlier. His control has been absolutely insane right now, but he has to be careful. He will now lose another Stalker. Finally, HateMe is going to be forcing this all the way back.
Yeah, despite all of these stasis wards, they do get popped a little bit prematurely by some of these very enthusiastic Lings.
Yeah, it was great for HateMe. He was able to force them out. Not going to have any kind of substantial stasis detonations on these Roaches as he expands and takes the fourth base, but DnS is already fully mining here on the fourth, on his fourth.
Yeah, this is just DnS containing HateMe for as long as possible. HateMe still struggling to saturate his fourth base. His fourth factory did just finish up. Now, massive stasis forward. Good enough that, honestly, DnS can continue to push forward, but he thinks better of it. He doesn't want to take that. He doesn't want to push too deep into creep. He is more than satisfied to just delay the economy of HateMe for this long. He's even camping out here. He's gonna pick off a couple of free roaches.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Ideally, unfortunately, he wasn't looking at the moment. He was kind of throwing down some gateways back at home instead, so those roaches were just barely able to escape. Meanwhile, slow Banelings are looking to waddle in, but again, the stasis field behind this army is just—it's always there. He's been so active with these oracles. They've been alive the entire game, and it's great that he still finds use for them. And
they still have energy. They're even gonna pop a couple of revelations, clear even more creep. There is absolutely no way HateMe's gonna be able to get some ground in this side of the map. So instead, he maneuvers on the other side of the map. But DnS, he's already wise to this fourth base location. A couple of defensive banelings will prevent the run-by from getting much damage, but just confirming the location is good enough for DnS.
Exactly. At the same time, we have that Baneling run by at the third base, but DnS does notice. He pulls the boys immediately, and the Banelings get no damage done. Up.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Oh! No, not quite. The cannon is enough to prevent too many connections here with the Banelings. A little bit trigger happy, you know, with the battery overcharge, but at this point, you know, there's no way HateMe is going to push across the map. He can afford to pop his battery overcharge early.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, DnS has been in control this entire game with his aggression, defending against all of these run-bys as well. Focuses down to high-energy queens, and HateMe can just never engage here because of the stasis field. He can never push in. The only way he could do so is that if he got some more Ravagers and maybe try to bile them down if he had a keen enough eye to spot them ahead of time.
And fortunately for him, Keen is probably asleep right now. And also he's being a little bit distracted, being picked apart by DnS, who's just pushing on two fronts at the moment. Oracles now popping their Pulsar Beam. They're sniping the Banelings before they can really get any connections.
Yeah,
and now the Disruptors are out.
Yeah, at the same time, we do have a bit of a run by here towards the third base location. Lings and Roaches. Meanwhile, Warping is utilized across the map. He's not going to have it at home to defend, but maybe he doesn't need it. We'll see. The stack defense is going to be enough. The Disruptors come out!
And the Disruptors will get some nice pickoffs on these Roaches. Still a couple of Lings here, but Lings aren't too threatening right now to the Protoss defenses. Meanwhile, the Protoss main army is pushing on forward onto creep. The Observer is here to clear up as many tumors as it needs to. Banelings connecting on only a handful of these Stalkers. And with that, it looks like DnS has a lot of momentum his way, but upgrades have finished up for HateMe. They have +2 melee, and he is starting to push back this army. Meanwhile, in the main base.
Yeah, in the main base, we have Zealots wreaking havoc here. It looks like we had a second warp in of Zealots in the main base because of the Prism. Prism is still alive, by the way, waiting outside the base. Eventually, this will be cleaned up, but it does kind of give an opportunity for DnS to reinforce this army, get more Disruptors out. He has been losing his Disruptors, don't get me wrong, so because of that, he can't really overwhelm his opponents, but HateMe is still struggling to keep up.
Yeah, economically he very much is, but technologically he is on par. He's about to get, whatchamacallit, Cracklings on the way, and the Greater Spire is about to finish up as well. Vipers are out, sucking on some energy.
Yeah, sucking on that. Oh, that youth juice. They're looking to try and get a snipe on that Disruptor. We'll see if they can get it. Oh, do they have enough energy for an Abduct? It looks like they have one, but there we go. They're going to be sucking on that building.
Yeah, well, that's going on, however. DnS is pushing on forward, picking off Roaches and Lings. Another run by of Zealots. I don't think DnS has warped in a single Stalker to reinforce in this location. He has just been warping in Zealots to continue distracting and harassing HateMe. He's just relying so much on his impeccable Blink Micro.
Exactly, his Blink Sources have been insane. The warping of Zealots have been just a little bit too much. GG gets called, and DnS takes game number 1.
Yeah, definitely felt like a bit of a long time coming. DnS was in total control of the entire game, but HateMe did make him work for it, you know?
Yeah, you could definitely argue that HateMe was thinking a little bit too far ahead and wasn't really respecting the army that DnS had. It was a relatively low-tech army, you know, just gateway units and a handful of Disruptors, but HateMe taking up all the way to a Greater Spire, that is greedy. That is a little bit too much, you know, to try and sneak out that tech when really he should have focused on his Vipers more, should have focused on maybe a lower tier transition, whether it's trying to go into mutas or trying to go into Hydras and Lurkers. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Lurkers would have been the safer and potentially even more effective tech transition coming up from HateMe. I have to imagine that, you know, going Brute Lords like that is something that has worked out for him, because otherwise, why would you? Why would you try to sneak out the Great Aspire and sneak out those Brute Lords? But in this case, there was no way he would ever not only have the economy to go into that, but also have enough of a buffer to keep him alive till that point.
Yeah, I think that's a very good thing to point out, is that I'm sure this is how he usually plays out his typical ZVP against Ground Toss, and I'm sure usually it works, but because of the constant run-bys at the 4th base, at his main base as well, like all of his drones falling, like he just didn't really have the capability to quickly and safely tech up while also defending and going for counterattacks. Like, bearing in mind, his counterattacks weren't doing any damage either. Like, DnS wasn't being slowed down.
Yeah, that was...
He wasn't even warping it in at home defensively.
Yeah, that was definitely another really impressive aspect of DNS's play. I mean, he definitely prepared. He wanted all his units in the front. He prepared and got cannons and shield batteries very, very early on in... Very, very early on in that game. And then towards the end, you know, once he got a comfortable amount of stalkers, he stopped warping those in, went for mass harass. He was only producing zealots and disruptors. At least that's how it felt, what it felt like towards the end of that game.
Yeah, it's just really impressive how much he got done with so little, and the fact that he was able to really solidify his position outside the natural of his opponent. Like, the way that he was able to utilize his oracles, not just the stasis field, but also the revelations, and just the creep never really got out. You know, it was connecting the bases, sure, but like without creep, it's so difficult to defend with Ling Bane Road Ravager.
Yeah, it's definitely the cornerstone. But that was game number 1, and now we are in game number 2, and it was going to be taking place on Hardwire, where in the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner, we have the Red Protoss player, currently up 1-0 in this Best of 3 series. He is hailing from the land of France and representing Root Gaming. He is DnS.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Austrian Zerg player himself. He is blue, representing Platinum Heroes. It is HateMe. Or HateMe.
Yeah. See.
See,
it's more fun to call him HateMe.
Oh god.
A team doesn't really have that same, you know, that same spice to it.
Yeah, we need some confirmation from maybe his teammates, you know, maybe Jan Paul in the chat, or one of the other Platinum Heroes representatives, maybe.
Yeah, let us know. 3 names. I can't believe it's taken me this long to wonder about it. Like, does DNS mean anything? Like, is it an acronym?
I would assume so. Very rarely do you put 3 letters together for no reason. Yeah, I wonder. Are they his initials? Is he pulling like a TY on us? Like,
no. Initials are AB.
Okay.
And he actually did go by Adriano for a little while.
Yeah, if anyone in the chat is aware of the story behind the initials DNS, let us know. You know, it's one of those fun
DNA,
facts.
but he made a typo.
Well, it's something and something, right? Because the D and the S are capitalized, right?
Well, ordinarily I would say that that's the case, but these are pro gamers we're talking about.
True.
Looking at you, innovation.
Yes, sometimes the capitalization of letters mean nothing. That is why, you know, it could be hate me, or it could be something else, you know? The H and the M could be capitalized for no reason.
Maybe it's 8E, HM, 8, no,
What?
it's probably not that.
What do you say?
Maybe we're supposed to pronounce the capital letters differently from the little letters. But then I remembered that that's not. It's you're supposed to look out for brackets, not capitalization.
What,
That was the case.
what are you talking? Are you trying to like apply math right now? Is that what you're trying to do?
It's like Sabif.
Oh god. But we'll see how game number 2 goes here for our players. Meanwhile, ooh, Overlord already almost getting denied here. Is going to be hunted down by this Stalker. Run, Overlord, run! Ah! He's trying desperately to get into
right under the. It's gonna get underground, maybe. Oh, just barely survives.
Jesus.
Right on top of this vent.
Yeah, barely is able to escape, but because of its low HP, the likelihood of this getting in for a scout is pretty low. So, HateMe is going to be in the dark here at the start of this game, is unawares of what the opener is going to be.
Yeah, which we know, since we are observing, is going to be about the same thing coming out from DnS. If it ain't broke, why break it?
Exactly, and this is arguably broken. He is going for. He is going to be going for at least a double Oracle opener, probably the triple Oracle opener, if you will.
Yeah, and he's pulling them at home. This is designed to get damage done across the map. He's not too concerned about, going around and scouting, throwing down revelations, and figuring out what HateMe is going to be doing. He just wants to kill drones.
I love this. So because the scout has been denied, HateMe still doesn't know what's coming. And because the first Oracle didn't go across the map on its own, that means that HateMe is still in the dark. And he isn't quite prepared. He has one Spore in his main, but the third base is exposed, the natural is exposed as well. There is potential for damage here.
Even 4 Adepts coming in to support this. If HateMe doesn't lose a ton of drones, I will be very impressed.
Ooh, so far the Shade isn't committed, but both Oracles do dive into the main base, and oh my god, drone after drone gets picked up.
Yep, that's the power of double Oracle. The one-shot potential is insane.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we do have a massive Link Flood coming across the map here. Can he get us around on those Adepts? The Adepts are trying desperately to Shade all the way back home, and they do!
But is that going to be enough to prevent the third base from getting delayed? Apparently so, yeah.
With the power of the triple Oracle, the third base is completely safe, and all of these Lings could have been drones. So HateMe does take the worker deficit here in this game.
And we'll see if DnS is able to maintain that worker lead like he was in game number 1.
Exactly, drones are getting picked off, Lings are being made instead of drones as well. DnS still keeps all of his Adepts alive, by the way, as well as Oracle, so he can dive back in if he wants to.
And he very much wants to. Whether or not he's going to be able to is a bit of a different story.
Oh, exactly. Just threatening a Shade once again. I love how conservative he is with this army, by the way. He just revealed and just cleared up creep. That's all he cares about, and we saw that kind of led him to win game 1.
Yep, and he's definitely recognized that at this point. Like, he knows that if he can just contain HateMe for long enough, then he's going to surge ahead when it comes to the tech, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the everything. Ooh. Finally does commit into the main base, or the natural base.
Oh, he does. He doesn't Shade. It looks like he's going to recall back home. We'll lose 2 Adepts in total here. But, killing a couple of workers, confirming the army, seeing once again that it is going to be roaches coming out from HateMe.
And with that, DnS is making a very large differentiation when it comes to his tech route. He is focusing way more on Immortals this time. Doesn't even have a Robo Bay. Well, not yet anyway.
Yeah, charges on the way as well as a massive 6 gateway explosion. Templar Archives as well, so Immortals, Chargelots, and Archons are the name of the game for DnS. As you were saying, a very different kind of composition compared to the previous game.
Yeah, a bit more of a reliable one here when you're going up against roaches. Immortals are guaranteed to always do damage, unlike Disruptors, which may do damage, or may get literally nothing done.
Yeah, Oracles may win you the game, or they may lose you the game. So DnS doesn't want to leave anything to chance here. He wants a more robust army, and he is working on it. 4th base on the way, equally timed with his opponent. DnS has been droning pretty heavily though, so he has been able to catch up in that respect. And I like this a lot more. It looks as if he is going to be committing a lot more to Lingbane and Roach Ravager. A much more, kind of mid-tier army. Isn't trying to, speed his way into an Infestation Pit or anything like that.
Yeah, mid-tier army, but a very plentiful one. And that's really the name of the game. That's really the name of the game when it comes to mid-game ZVP. Just get ahead when it comes to the supply, and then stay alive until you can get a late-game army.
Pretty much, mate, pretty much. But we'll see if he can survive, because the War Prism is on the way. DnS is finally going to be pushing out across the map. Do we have Banelings ready for this? Looks like we do not, so charge lots are still going to be a big threat to the army of HateMe. But there we go. As soon as the army comes onto creep, he sees and he morphs in some Banelings.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit trickier for DnS to... At least for DnS to push into this. HateMe does also need to be a little bit careful. The last thing he wants to do is to run these Banelings into Archons, but I do think that the onus is a bit more on DnS to, leash up his charge lots.
Pretty much. You can't just A-move in. If you do, you will lose everything here. Meanwhile, he's setting up some kind of retreat points with these stasis traps. One on the left, one on the right. Even loads up a War Prism, looking to try and sneak into the main base.
And a little bit of deja vu now. It's feeling pretty dang similar to game number 1.
Oh yeah, the Prism is still out here threatening. Meanwhile, a little bit of creep is being cleared up by the main army with whatever revelations we have available. Storm is now on the way, and I like this a little bit more. HateMe, with a pretty solid army, is just now taking up into the Spire, into the Hive.
Yeah, once again, it's interesting that he prefers more Skyzer kind of style, when it feels like nowadays most Zerg players tend to take in the lurkers, but it has a lot of potential to work out against the more immortal focused army that DnS is going for.
Oh yeah, and there's also the potential to transition into an army that works well against Skytoss. You already have your Broodlords, you're already going to be working on air attack upgrades, you have Corruptors as well, you're going to get some Vipers out. So there's a lot of potential here. It just takes a long time. It just takes a long time to really get going, because you have to morph in the Greater Spire as well. Speaking of Skytoss, that's also on the cards, on the horizon here for DnS.
Yeah, Fleet Beacon getting thrown down, and another Stargate to make use of that. Yikes. Eventually we're going to see Carriers, eventually we're going to see Corruptors and Tempests and whatnot. But till then, this is a very angry Protoss army.
He is. Looks like he's splitting off a couple of Zelts to go for a bit of a run by. Again, HateMe has done a great job at just posturing and keeping this army at bay. DnS hasn't pulled the trigger early yet. He doesn't want to, but now he does have Storm with all these High Templar.
Yeah, he can afford to take a little bit of a risk. He can utilize Storm for zoning. Oh, but he's getting surrounded. 360, a couple of force fields. Will they be good enough? Not quite, but maybe there's enough defenses. No, there is not. This army is not robust enough to survive a full 360 surround. A couple of Archons are in position, and they will actually survive and pick off a couple more roaches. Meanwhile, Zealots will mess up the base of HateMe a little bit, but a very early evacuation of drones does mean that HateMe will be able to keep the majority of his workers alive.
Yeah, at the same time, we do have a couple of Zealots being morphed into the main base as well, but with the reinforcing Lings and Roaches, it looks like HateMe should be able to clean all of this up. What's important is that his economy, for the most part, has been left untouched, and now he can get into his Broodlords. The Prism!
Will go down to these Queens. And that's I was gonna say that's especially unfortunate for DnS, because he only has one Robo and he's focused on producing mortals, but he foresaw this and he had a backup Warp Prism already prepared. Even throws a couple of Archons in there. Because why the heck not?
Yeah, he warps in another wave of Zealots as well. This army is still going to be threatening, so HateMe has to come all the way back home. And DnS is doing a great job at surviving here and getting into Carriers.
Yeah, a lot of Corruptors are on the way, but if DnS is able to catch wind of that and is able to get a couple of Void Rays as well, these Carriers are going to be surviving a whole lot longer.
Yeah, exactly. We have survived the early game and we are going into the late game. Meanwhile, the Prism looks like, it will not survive. Does finally get chased away by these Corruptors. Almost, puppy, almost.
If only. At least one Archon does survive.
Yeah, and after all said and done, like, the game was almost reset after that big engagement here, after that big surround. There was a lot of potential for maybe DnS to end the game, if only he had his Zealots to help buffer and keep his High Templar alive, but it was not meant to be. And yeah, we're just getting into late game here. Broodlords are on the way.
Yeah, they're definitely going to help out a ton against the High Templar, but that's if they're able to stay alive enough. There are carriers in the sky. Well, whoa, I just noticed this. Like, DnS is maxed out, and this is not really the ratio of units and the army composition you want to be maxed out with.
Yeah, at the same time, we don't have any spellcasters for HateMe, and that's what I'm really worried about. There are no Vipers to yoink any of the carriers, there are no Infestors either to throw down any Fungals. He's just going in with a brute force army. The Roaches are going to be trying to get on top of those High Templar though.
And I want to say there's enough force here for HateMe, because there is. He breaks on through, eviscerates the ground army. The Skytoss army in a lot of trouble as well. One carrier will go down. But when it's all said and done, I have a feeling DnS wanted to get rid of a lot of his ground forces. Meanwhile, he takes out an entire mineral line with these Zealots.
Exactly, Zealots at the 4th and at the natural base. At the same time, another massive Zealot army here at the 3rd. The hatchery itself is almost going down, but he's target firing. He wants the base.
And it is gonna go down. The Queens were not in position to transfuse. And that not only affects the mining of HateMe, but it also affects a lot of the production capability. That's a lot less larva than he otherwise would have had.
True, but you know what? He's going to be counterattacking with Roaches. That's why HateMe's army supply is so large right now, because of the massive amount of Roaches. He will be able to get one Nexus. Can you get more than that, though? Again, these Nexuses are looking a little bit exposed, but DnS's army is looking to retaliate, and okay, HateMe will back off.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't want to get rid of a couple more of these Roaches, but I guess he does need a little bit of a buffer on the ground. DnS working on a mothership and even more carriers where that came from. I like this, though. He just finished up Flux Veins. A couple of Void Rays will just really round out the army for him.
They really will. Like, DnS is perfecting his army. As you said before, it wasn't really what he wanted, especially with all those Immortals earlier. Immortals just aren't that great right now. They're great against Ultras and I guess Roaches, and there are Roaches, but at the same time, HateMe wants to get rid of all of this. Meanwhile, also for HateMe, he's getting his Vipers out. You know, he already has, what, 2 of them? He's getting a 3rd as well. They're slowly going to be gathering that energy, and he's going to have a lot more potential here with his army to go toe-to-toe with the Skytoss.
I see 2 Vipers that are about to be full of energy, and I also see a kill on that Nexus. Not a cancel. DnS going to be hurting even more when it comes to minerals. But as and even a contamination here, you know, Overseer being utilized to its full capabilities. But as I was saying, Light, I see 2 Vipers full of energy. I see a mothership. I see a yoink incoming. I see a minus 400.
I was about to say, I think you mean to say I see a minus 400 in our future, and I agree. I'm also worried because we said it a couple of times. We only have 2 Vipers. I don't think that's enough. Obviously, like, you can make a lot of use out of 2 Vipers, but you're relying a lot on them not getting feedback. Like, your hopes and dreams are only on 2 boys. Not ideal. Ideally, you do have a little bit more available to you.
Yeah, and on top of that, I don't know, like, is 11 Corruptors good enough anti-air to face a Skytoss army like this? It feels like it's a little bit low, but it may be enough.
I agree. I think 8 Broodlords may be a little bit too much, so there's a lot of supply in these Broodlords. But what's important is that HateMe is set up to receive an army. He is waiting for DnS to push into him so he can fight not just with his Corruptors, but also with his Spores, and more importantly, all of his Queens.
It's 2020?
What?
Is this 2020? I mean, I thought we had a new ZVP meta.
True. Not anymore, papi, not anymore, mate. It's all about the transfuses. It's all about the fungals as well. Maybe even Blinding Clouds. Sorry, not Blinding Clouds. The other one. What's the...
Abduct? Pneumatized care. No, not pneumatized.
What's the fungal? What's the infestor spell?
I know what you mean. The shield one.
There you go.
Mothership gets yoinked, but again, there's not enough anti-air to really follow that up with. Ooh, some really good not purification novas.
Parasitic bomb.
I don't know why my parasitic bombs. I don't know what my words are doing right now, Light, but yeah, they're all over the place. Archons are getting underneath these Corruptors, and they're all getting taken out. Ooh. Unfortunately, DnS is fighting in a location where these spores are not available to really be utilized.
Yeah.
But there's enough on the ground still for HateMe to prevent much of an advance.
This is the bane of a lot of Zerg players. Quickly looking at the buildings tab, we have 31 spores all here in the middle of the map, and they were not a part of the fight at all. They were not in position. DnS accurately found the weakest point here in the defenses of HateMe. He rotated around and he just forced his way through. Every single Corruptor died. The Vipers died. The Infestors as well. Microbial Shroud is what we were looking for, by the way.
Microbial Shroud! That's what it's called.
We even saw Microbial Shroud, and it actually came into play, but it just wasn't enough. We needed those spores to be in position, and they just weren't.
That they were not. GG is called, and DnS will take that series 2-0. But I think HateMe definitely showed that he has what it takes to, take it to some of the big boys here.
GG, he does, but congratulations DnS on the victory here on a very solid 2-0. As you were saying, there were moments there where HateMe, especially in game number 2, it looked like he could fight back, but game 1, DnS looked so impressive. It looked like he was outclassing his opponent in game 1. Game 2 though, much closer. Yeah.
It's, I think, one of those classic tales of up-and-coming players who they can definitely be prone to, just being contained and being harassed to death. But when that doesn't happen to them, they really get to show, why they are in the pro level. They are very much, their macro is very much impeccable, and that was definitely the case here with HateMe. Unfortunately, the engagements and the decision making was not quite there, and that's something that DnS definitely took advantage of. But this, I want to emphasize, was the first ever DreamHack that HateMe is participating in.
True.
And I think he's proven that, he's going to be around for quite a while longer.
Yeah, he was able to hold his own, and I think that's what's important. He didn't come out, if I'm not mistaken. There's another series going on. I was about to say he didn't come out last in his group either, which, may kind of help give him a little bit of confidence. But yeah, I can definitely see like some sparks of brilliance there for HateMe. We saw that mass around on the initial mid game, with that army, and it kind of worked well for him as well. He was able to take up into Broodlords really nicely. He had a pretty solid army at the end of the day. But again, his army was relying a lot on just where the fight happened and where the engagement occurred, and he just had a really bad time there.
And with that, once again, we want to remind our viewers here that this was literally, I think, maybe the only match left that doesn't actually have an impact. That doesn't actually have an impact on any of the group standings. So DnS and HateMe will be eliminated from DreamHack EU. But I'm sure they'll be back next season for Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh god, I can't wait. I can't wait to see more of them. And there's a world where maybe we'll see them even in DreamHack Valencia. They may not get the seed there, but there is an open brackets. All they have to do is travel to Spain, sign up, and they can be a part of it and have a chance to have a bigger run.
Yeah, if you want to see them over in the open bracket, go to their stream. Well, if they stream, I'm not even sure about it.
Help them out. Support them as best you can, because they do need that support. Maybe even their teams will send them. If they have the funds for it. That's what we're doing with Vindicta. We were able to help facilitate and help him pay for his flight to Valencia. So. Yeah.
Not his bunking though, so he is gonna have to room with Euthermal.
Man, it's what he wanted. It's what he.
Yeah.
Oh god. So yeah, GG, well played to our players here, and with that we conclude our third series of the day. And now I guess it's time to have a gander over at Group C and see what the hell's been going on over there.
Yeah, the players who are going to be making out of Group C have pretty much been confirmed. Cyril at number 1, Euthermal at number 4, but number 2 and 3 are still to be determined right now. It is between Skilless and Hearthstem. Again, both of them confirmed to be advancing out of the group stage and into the playoffs, but both of them very, very much want that second seed.
Yeah.
They do not want to have to play an additional. They do not want to have to play an additional round and risk being eliminated early in the group stage, or early in the playoffs, I should say. Hearthstem finished up his series against Mana, so it is all on Skilless right now. If he beats Young Yakov, he is confirmed number 2.
Yes. Fun fact, I just got updated by our lovely admin, and he was letting us know that right now Euthermal is mid-series against Cyril, and he is fighting his heart out because he doesn't know if he's made it through. Like, the reason why he's confirmed as 4th is because Mana just lost. If Mana had won, then it's a little bit more up in the air. So Euthermal has no idea that he already made it in.
Wow.
He's like, let's go. I gotta try. I need to bring down Cyril. Like, he's fighting to his last breath right now, and he doesn't need to.
he's gonna beat Cyril, and then at the end of it, he's like, yes, I'm out of the group stage, and then somebody's gonna walk up to him and be like, you were confirmed out of the group stage like before you even played against Cyril, mate. And he's like, huh. While I beat Cyril.
Yeah. Oh god. So head on over there to, I believe that is the main stream covering Cyril versus Euthermal. Oh no, sorry. The main stream covered Hearthstone versus Mana. So the B stream is covering Cyril versus Euthermal.
Yeah, we're gonna want to check that out. I'm definitely going to be tuning into that during the break that we're going to be taking.
Definitely. We have one series left, and then we will be done with DreamHack EU, but it's going to be a spicy series. A lot of people were looking forward to it. It is going to be Soul Spirit versus not Soul, but now Spirit. Oh boy.
I was just about to say Soul Spirit up against not Soul, but Spirit.
There you go. We'll see you then. We'll see you.
Yeah. Wait. We gotta...